So let's just look at what we're going to do. This is our primary part here on the left. It's a ring model. So this model is about 12 inches or 12 millimeters in diameter, about 18 millimeters in diameter, 12 inches wide. And we have several features here that we're going to be machining out. Obviously, in the center, we got this diamond air pattern that goes around the part, and then another offset pattern right next to it. So we're going to be using various continuous four-axis roughing methods to rough this down, and we're going to show you each of the roughing methods available. And after that, we're going to do some finishing. We're going to do finishing in levels, our level finishing, and then we're also going to show you how to rough this out in parallel finishing, because you can use parallel finishing. Even though it's a finishing operation, you can use it very well for roughing as well. So we're going to show you that. After we finish it out, we're just going to do some pocketing, four-axis pocketing in these areas. We're going to do some cleanup passes around the pocketing areas to clean these edges up. And then we're going to show you some different ways to machine these outer rims here. We're going to do, first we're going to do a facing operation, and then on the other side we'll show you how to do a profiling and clean this up just as well as the facing. So in this picture here, if you're unfamiliar with how four-axis works, the green arrow here is our fourth rotational axis. So it points along the the primary x-axis. So the x-axis is actually rotating on the machine bed, and the spindle with the cutter will be moving in X, Y, and Z. Okay. Now we're going to be using another model to show you the drive surface machining, and this is a true four-axis method, whereas the rotational axis and the X, Y, and Z, the three axes, are moving in tandem to machine this part. And you'll also notice that on this picture, the little green arrow here, the rotational axis again is along the x-axis. Okay, and you'll also notice, pay attention to the shape of this part, how it's not actually centered on the rotational axis. And that's a situation where only drive surface machining can really machine this part. And the other methods, you'll notice that the part is centered about the rotational axis. Okay, and let's see what else we got here. In this little picture up here on the right, it gives you an idea of how a typical four-axis machine tool is set up. In this particular setup, we have the fourth rotational axis is on the table of the machine. So if you look at number 4 here, and you look at the green arrow, similar to these parts, the models over here, you'll see that the green arrow begins on the left side, and it runs along parallel to the x-axis right here, number 1. Okay, so there is another configuration where the rotational axis is actually in the head. Okay, but that's not how our parts are set up for this particular demonstration. In most cases, it'll be along the table, and the spindle, just like a 3-axis spindle.
Hey Don, I just want to say a few words about rotary axis being on the head. I mean, it might be obvious or might not be obvious why the rotary axis typically is on the table, because if you can imagine, if the rotary axis is on the head, it can't really reach a lot of places. Right? It can't go under the part. While if it's on a rotary table, it can spin and expose the undersides of the part pretty easily. So the most common configurations we see is the rotary axis is on the table.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep.
All right, Don.
Okay. Okay, so basically that's an understanding of how 4-axis works, specifically in this part that we're going to be looking at today. And down here, we just have a list of the operation types. We went over those in the agenda. These are the operations that we're going to be demonstrating. R-level roughing, R-level finishing, R-level meaning that each cut level is a radius, okay? So it's going to be working its way down at various radii on the part. And we're going to be looking at parallel finishing in 4-axis. And then also we mentioned drive surface machining. We're going to be showing you another part for that. And then facing, pocketing, and profiling. Okay. Okay, let's do some pocketing, facing, and profiling. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pocket these 3 areas right here. So we got, if you think of a pocket in 4-axis, it's got straight vertical walls, okay, and it's got a flat radial bottom. It doesn't, yeah, it has to be flat bottom in 4-axis pocketing. So we have a flat bottom, okay, and we got vertical walls. So we're going to use the pocketing. And for pocketing, profiling, and facing, you do have to select curves, okay, or edges of surfaces. We have, like I mentioned, we have curves already created. So we're going to go in and we're just going to select these curves, that one. And we're going to work our way over that one, that one, that one. Any questions, Joe? Again, if you have any questions, put them in the
Not
questions
really,
panel.
yeah.
And that one. Okay, so we got our curves selected for our 3 pockets. For the tool, we're going to use the smaller 0.4 millimeter flat end mill. And for the cut parameters, we have a tolerance set to 0.03. And pocketing, you know, the tolerance can be a little bit slack. It depends on what you're cutting, obviously. Now you'll notice we have a stock set to negative. Why did we do that? If you look at this part, you'll see that these diamonds actually touch, okay? If you want to leave those connections in your pattern, just set your stock to 0. If you want to separate the diamonds and have distinct diamond, 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 we can overcut it some, and it's going to separate these diamonds where they're connected, which is pretty cool. So we got a negative stock value of negative 0.07. Okay, we're going to do an offset cut pattern in the pocket. We're going to do a mixed cut direction. We're going to start inside the pocket. We're going to do a 25% step over, 25% of point 0.4. Okay, we're going to do a cleanup pass. So it's going to go in and do the pockets, and then it's going to do a nice cleanup on each edge. Okay, and let's see what else. Our cut levels. If you was actually cutting this in production, you would probably use multiple step downs. We're just doing it in one cut level, which is going to be actually right on the floor of the pocket. So it doesn't matter whether you set at top, at bottom. Our total cut depth is set to 0. So it's not cutting any deeper than that. Okay. And so everything is set to 0. Pocketing, entry and exit, I was set to linear. Let's generate those. A really quick calculation. So it did our pocketing operation on each of these pocketing areas. Nice cut pattern. We got a linear ramp entry, and we have a cleanup pass around the edges. Let's simulate that. Let's turn that off. Slow this down just a little. Let's play that. Actually, let's pause that a second. I want to set a color. Okay, let's play that. So you'll see it's going around and cutting each pocket. And it's doing a cleanup pass. You said a nice cleanup pass. Now it's come back and going to do the cleanup pass. You'll see that it broke the diamond. Cleanup passes. Nice. So it broke the diamonds. Obviously, if you don't want to do that, if you want the pattern to connect, just leave the stock at 0 and it'll leave them connected with the little radius right here. That looks nice. So we have the roughing. Okay, so we did the roughing and then we did the finishing on the diamond areas. We didn't go any deeper, say, than right here on the finishing. And then we come back and did the pocketing with a cleanup pass that was a negative offset. Okay, very nice. Okay, so that's pocketing. And again, just for your understanding, in pocketing, the tool, obviously, in 4-axis, in the operations we're showing you now, the tool is aligned with the normal to the rotational axis, okay? So it's just doing a pocketing at this radius depth right here.